So once we have a clear hold of the expectations, or once we know why we need to do something, the next steps are not that difficult. So first you set the why. The next step is to draw the boundaries in a way such that the team itself comes up with the what. So first you have the why, and then you have the what. But what is something which the team itself has come up with on the basis of why.
The why.
Right. And then with your experience, you add how. So then that becomes the why, the what, and the how. And since it's a participative process, we already have everyone's buy-in. And so execution is not that big a challenge as it may seem.
Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast series brought to you by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm Priya George, and today we are thrilled to be joined by Mr. Abhijit Bagool, a dynamic leader with an impressive track record in digital transformation, strategic leadership, and global business management. With experience at renowned organizations like Capgemini, ING, and Accenture, Mr. Bagool has played a key role in shaping the future of digital banking, innovation, and cross-border operations. From managing multi-million-dollar portfolios to leading global teams, his journey is a testament to how leadership and strategy can create meaningful change. We are excited to dive into his career, insights, and the impact of corporate governance and ESG on today's business landscape. So let's get started. Mr. Bagool, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. We're excited to speak with you.
Good morning, Priya, and thanks a lot for having me.
So without further ado, let's get straight to it. Mr. Bagool, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. And to start off, I'd love for you to take us on a journey through your career. When you reflect on your experiences, what would you say were some of the most defining moments that shaped your path? How did your early roles and experiences spark your interest in leadership and digital transformation? And I'm sure there were challenges and breakthroughs along the way that have brought you to where you are now. So we'd love to hear from you.
Right. All right. So, I understand digital transformation as a means of delivering customer delight. So whether it is through new applications, new processes, new ways of working, new products, whatever it takes to give customer an elevated experience.
Right.
In today's world, customer does not differentiate between service providers. So whether I am availing services from Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, or any other service provider, I expect service standards to be similar. So this continuously evolving paradigm is what keeps me in the game.
Right.
I was working with this construct for a few years when I was a newbie in the IT industry. And then I came to know more about digital transformation and how things go. So that's when I saw how IT applications and tooling platforms were used as a means of integration or integrating operations across different countries. So in other words, where let's say language, way of working, customer expectations are different, where there are international boundaries which divide, technology platforms and tools can become a glue to drive unification. I was a part of a team which participated in bringing operations for a large European financial services provider, initially across Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, and then later on Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg together. So I was also fortunate to have been a witness to something similar. That was for a large Dutch bank, and they consolidated their operations across Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. So for me, it's become almost a given that a technology platform has got much more to do or much more to deliver than just to the customer. It also has a lot more to deliver to the organization. Absolutely. Well, through this journey, saw me grow in as a business analyst to onshore coordinator and then as a senior product owner. I was owning multiple applications and won lots of appreciations and accolades through this. The most striking of it, which I can recollect, is when our entry was chosen as the best submission, and this was a competition which was conducted by my client's client. And since we were adjudged as the best entry, they were kind enough to send me a small BMW all the way from Germany. Although it was a toy variant, but yeah, anyhow.
Still. Those are collectibles as well. I mean, I
Yes, true.
understand. Yes, I get it. Yes. So thank you for sharing that. And it's really fascinating. It's incredible how those early experiences have shaped your career in such a meaningful way. Mr. Bagool, managing a multi-million uh, dollar portfolio at Capgemini is no small feat, especially when you're overseeing operations across multiple geographies. We are curious, when you reflect on that experience, what were some of the key strategies that not only helped you manage such large scale operations, but also ensured that your teams remained aligned and efficient, no matter the location or cultural differences?
Right. So, first of all, thanks, Priya, for this wonderful question. Uh, what I can say is that, I mean, the way I look at things, or the way things have worked out for me, the most important thing is why. Okay. So once we have a clear hold of the expectations, or once we know why we need to do something, the next steps are not that difficult. So first you set the why. The next step is to draw the boundaries in a way such that the team itself comes up with the what. So first you have the why, and then you have the what. But what is something which the team itself has come up with on the basis of why.
The why.
Right. And then with your experience, you add how. So then that becomes the why, the what, and the how. And since it's a participative process, we already have everyone's buy-in. And so execution is not that big a challenge as it may seem. Right. Further, I think it's important to identify who can bring a sound solution to the fore and around whom the entire team rallies. So you'll have some bright spots, some bright pillars around whom everything happens. So you need to have that eye to identify those gems. Right. Ensure autonomy is given and consensus is built, so that it doesn't feel that there is a one man who is it's forced, it's top down or anything like that.
True.
Each member needs to feel empowered and should have the confidence that if he or she has a conviction, then the outcome can be altered. It's not set in stone just because XYZ is saying it will only happen that. So that should not. I mean, nobody should have that feeling. The initial agreements and ground rules which everyone has, I mean, they're agreed when you start. So at the beginning, you need to have certain red lines drawn. You need to have certain agreements in place, and these agreements help us in the future. So let's say there is a dispute or there is a difference of opinion on a particular situation, then how to go about it. At that time, these assurances and these things which we have agreed at the beginning help us and help us come out of the way. Right. So I think after that, I think that there needs to be shorter delivery cycles. So we should not have long phases where work is going on and on and on, and you don't really know if you're going in the right direction and things like that. So it should have smaller delivery cycles and which yield a tangible outcome at the end. We should have a process in which we can have a sort of a retrospective where we can look behind and see what could have been done better, imbibe lessons and learnings from it, so that the quality of the delivery keeps improving. So with every next iteration, we have a better quality output. At times when the solution is not clear. So, I mean, this is, of course, what I said earlier will work perfectly when everything is a defined path, when you know where you're supposed to reach and everything is defined. But there could be times when things are not very clear. So I think the key in such situations would be that the organization culture basically should allow experimentation, should allow teams to experiment and fail early. Of course, you cannot have experiments which are running into months, but short cycles is something which I think is the need of the hour. Because without experimentation, I think you may stick to somebody's views, instead of
Mhm.
team really owning up and trying it out. uh, you have, I mean, as I said earlier, it's a question of autonomy, people feeling empowered. So it should not be that only one person said or only two people said something and that's why the entire team is following something. They should be allowed to experiment, try it out, and then come to a consensus that yeah, this is the best one which works. And of course this experimentation would yield in testing the hypothesis which they have, and will come out with something which is basically a solution which we were looking for. So
Mhm.
sometimes there may be multiple players who are working on a solution together. So it is basically a multi-vendor environment or multiple set of teams which are working together. And
Understood.
so again, in such cases, reiterating the why, the what, and the how periodically is very
Mhm.
important. I feel that there should be multiple forums where the teams at large or individual team members have an audience with the leadership, where they hear from the leadership on the why, the what, and the how. So that
Mhm.
if they have a different thought, or if they feel that something has evolved, something has changed through the journey, they can reach out to the leadership there and then. And that gives them that feeling that my opinion is valued, instead of again
Correct.
having something that somebody has said and that's why it has to follow a structured
Yes.
path.
Forced.
Right.
Correct.
So it, because in the end, see, everybody needs to uh, feel the value in the entire game. So if you are connected to the why, if you really know your mission, if you really feel why you're doing it, then everybody is on board, and the journey is
Correct.
smooth. So it's
Yes.
just a method of ensuring that everybody is on the same page and the journey is smooth.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I guess another thing could be that we should have a clear roadmap so that all teams which are involved know that what is expected roughly in
Right.
what time frame. So you obviously cannot put a date on the calendar and say, okay, this is the star mark and this is when we want this, because it's the individual teams which are taking ownership, which are
Correct.
planning, which are defining the why, how, and all of those things, the what and the how, basically. So uh, we cannot put a date, but we can define time
Right.
frames. So
Correct.
I think that helps the team, because that helps them in the sense of direction, that they know what is expected in that range. So they can plan their things,
Yes.
whether it is experiments or delivering or whatever. Or and this would also ensure that we have a plan B. So in case the
Correct.
experimentation does not deliver what we were looking for, then what is the plan B, so that we are still in time. So that planning
Right.
has to be it becomes a very important thing. I mean, although on one side we are
Right.
talking of delegation and letting the teams own it completely, on the other side we are also saying that at least at a high level there should be something which still holds the complete thing together. So that's what I've found. In
Right.
case of a multi-geography or multiple teams or multiple cultures, where we have team members from multiple cultures, I think what I have seen is that having a good mix or at least a representation. So let's say we
Mhm.
have a team delivering a particular solution, and then we could have some people from different cultures who are involved in the team. So assume a situation where, let's say, somebody from Europe, Western Europe, is
Correct.
part of the delivery cycle, and the majority of the team is India based. So obviously, there is a lot of disconnect. There could be time zone issues, there could be language issues, there could be the way you look at things. I guess punctuality can be different. India works in its own IST time zone, while Western
Correct.
Europe may have
Correct.
a different setup. So all those things are there. So I think it would what I've seen works is that if you have some members of that team, which is in Western
Hmm.
Europe, have a couple of representatives part of this India team, and so
Got
on.
it.
So that uh, in case there is a dispute, or in case there is a difference of opinion, or there is a deadlock,
Hmm.
these people who are part of different teams but come from the same home culture, they know what
Hmm.
is the undercurrent and they can help bridge.
Absolutely.
So I've seen that working multiple times, and I think communication. So because whenever the complexity grows in the delivery
Hmm.
or in on whatever you're working, when things become complex, I think communication is the key. As far as
Absolutely.
everybody knows what you're doing, why you're doing. Again, I'm coming back to the why, how, and what. But
Yes.
I think those are the three important pillars on everything is based. So till
Right.
the time that is clear, I think we are on a safe zone.
Right. That's a very insightful response. And if I had to summarize it for our listeners, there were some very key points which were you talked about the why, you talked about the what and the how. What really struck me was also the fact that making a team feel seen and heard, identifying their strengths and accordingly allocating responsibilities. The next thing that struck me was revisiting the planning, like, reflecting on what's going well, what's not. Clear communication is something so everybody is aware of their responsibilities and having like a roadmap, and also inclusion and diversification. So these were some of the key points that really struck a chord, not just with me, I'm sure with many of our listeners. So thank you for your response. Mr. Bagool, transitioning from legacy applications to modern tech infrastructure is a monumental task, especially when you're dealing with the complexities of legacy systems and ensuring smooth integration. And there must have been moments of challenges that crossed your path. So, could you walk us through some of the key hurdles you faced during these integrations? And more importantly, how you and your team were able to overcome them to deliver a future ready tech environment?
All right. Another interesting question, Priya. So thanks for that. Well, in my view, hurdles are essentially a learning opportunity.
Hmm.
So each engagement which I have been a part of has had different set of hurdles or impediments on the way. So, for instance, during the amalgamation of business operations across Netherlands and Belgium for a large Dutch bank, which I referred earlier,
Okay.
it was a complex atmosphere. One set of teams were more hierarchical, while the other one was flat, which meant, and since I talked about amalgamation, this means that there were certain redundancies which were getting identified, people were being let
Hmm.
go. The
Hmm.
roles and responsibilities which folks were used to was undergoing a transition.
Hmm.
Some of the roles were getting repurposed. There were talks of introducing similar products across two countries, which meant
Hmm.
phasing out of the existing ones and introducing new ones, which
Hmm.
also meant that the IT tooling which was being used was also getting harmonized.
Hmm.
Also, the language which was used or which was spoken across the two countries is not the same. So it was a mix of people and tech challenges which I had in that particular engagement. The mechanism which we used was again communication,
Okay.
starting with ways of working. So
Hmm.
you first come to the common understanding of how do things work. What is each person supposed to do? The rights,
Hmm.
the duties, the expectations,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
In that construct or in that way of working, we had a role called agile coaches.
Okay.
So we ensured that the same coaches were training or were supporting teams across the border. So whether it was a Dutch team or a Belgian team, it was the same coach who was looking after both, so that they had the confidence in terms of uh, what the teams. I mean, drawing a common understanding, getting them to the same plane, uh, because of course the maturity model for one team was different. I mean, they were
Hmm.
more mature in terms of understanding what the agile coaches mean and how are they,
Correct.
what are they referring to, and what is happening. While for the other teams, it was completely different. It was a new idea which was coming in,
Right.
apart from all the people challenges which I just mentioned. So for them, it was a steeper learning curve. But yes, the
Okay.
agile coaches obviously had to spend more time, ensure that everybody is on board and they really understand what's happening. So again, first is communication, get them onto the same board, help them understand what is expected of each other. After that, having a representation from both countries in some key teams. Again, the same thing. You should
Hmm.
have inclusion and diversity as a part of it. So
Correct.
if it's the Belgian team, you should have a couple of Dutch team members who are there, and vice versa, so that
Got
they
it.
understand what's really happening, what are they thinking. And
Hmm.
since you're talking about key teams, then obviously there are key products and key things, key issues which get covered. And
Correct.
so that helps. Encouraging them to conduct some sort of POCs and experiments again,
Hmm.
having a roadmap which is well established. So all that helped in getting things moving in that particular engagement.
Hmm.
In a previous one or an earlier one, where I was playing a business analyst earlier, and then later on moved on to become an onshore coordinator, the challenges were different. I was tasked with
Correct.
coordination across multiple vendor partners, client SMEs, senior stakeholders, about 10 different development teams at offshore across different
Hmm.
technologies and business areas. So it was a big
Hmm.
gamut of people with whom I was coordinating. The learning from that role was being honest about individual limitations. So be truthful. I mean, you are not Mr. Know All. There are things
Correct.
which you know, and there are things which where you have scope for improvement. So
Correct.
be honest about it. There's no need to try and say that I come from such and such level in the organization, and therefore I am the boss. I know everything. You do what I'm telling you. That's not how it works. I mean, I've seen it work better if you're honest and transparent, and in your not so strong areas, if you're honest and transparent with the team and reach out to them for help. That, okay, whatever you're saying, what is the logic behind it? If you try and understand that, then you are on a better phase, or in a better plane with them, and things move easier and faster. So as I said, not I mean, the complexity there was that there were different stakeholders which were coming in from different perspectives. Even within the technology stack, there were people representing different things.
Hmm.
So I would say that additional complexity which I can think of as I speak is there were some client SMEs
Hmm.
who were also involved, with whom I had to establish communication, come to the same page, etc. Where the
Hmm.
language barrier came, because this was again Western Europe, which we are talking about. So,
Hmm.
and since, I mean, we in India may be used to speaking two or three languages, that may be a given for us, but that's
Correct.
not so all across the world.
Necessarily true. Correct for the
So,
others. Yeah.
so even if you say English, it may be true that it's a common means of communication in large parts of the world, but still there are some pockets
Not
where
necessarily. Yeah.
where it doesn't work. So,
Correct.
so there were challenges like that. So what I did in such instances was that get somebody or tag somebody, or probably get is a better word. So take someone with me to such meetings where you have people not speaking English. So you should have someone who can speak their language and who understands the issue which you want to discuss in that meeting. So, I mean, you could call
Like
him
a
a
translator, you mean?
translator or intermediary of some sorts who
Got
understands
it.
the both
Got it.
sides.
Got it.
So that helps. Again, the idea is communication. So in
Hmm.
that space also, if you put some deliverables and timelines on a chart, then irrespective of the language, you everyone tries to align to that timeline. So timeline is one thing which people across the world understand. When you say that, okay,
Yes.
this in this quarter this is expected, or in this month we plan to do this. So that's
Got
something I
it.
think everybody aligns with.
Got it.
Then in one of my most recent roles, there was a customer escalation,
Hmm.
which was related to quality of deliverables and the team's missing timelines.
Okay.
So the way we fixed it was by engaging with the client stakeholders to understand the priority, because of course what we got from the team. So before you go to the customer, you first go to your team. You understand what is their version of the story, because as a customer they have a set of a story, and from your team you have a B set of a story. Your role is to understand the truth between A and B, because neither B is completely true nor A is completely true. The truth lies between A and B, and your role is to understand that. So you first get to your team, try and understand what they are saying, try and make out sense of whatever it is, the gray zone which they are not
Hmm.
being very open and transparent about. Try and get that, so that you have your story before you meet the customer. So
Makes
once
sense.
you do that, then you reach out to them, try and understand the priority. What is the most important thing which you're looking for? So get the priority fixed. Then by doing that, you if required, you could get additional hands on board. So if there is a large piece of work which has to be done and you have a limited team because of which whatever
Hmm.
issues were flagged, so you could get additional hands restructuring the team into smaller groups, with each small group having a defined goal, that these set of 5 people will do this and the next set of 5 will do this,
Correct.
so that together the entire piece is delivered. So that helped. Making each group lead as a owner of the deliverable. So whatever the
Taking
scope is,
accountability.
accountability. So become accountable for your team, for your deliverable. So initially, what we saw is that the lead was also involved in management reporting and things like that. So that was taking a lot of time uh, of his deliverables, so to say. So we removed those tasks from his duties, and which meant that he had more time to do the review work and ensure that the quality of the deliverable and the timeline is met. So that helped. So it also meant that over a period of time, the feedback which we were getting from the client SMEs on the deliverables started showing improvement. And later on, we were also able to flag certain feedback which our team was very strongly feeling was politically motivated. So it's a tough stance to take in front of the customer and say that, well, not all what you're saying is correct. There could be certain political reasons why at least some of the team members are saying what they are saying. And here is the evidence. So we could prove it with KPIs, we could prove it with defined metrics and agreed metrics that, okay, this is how we have shown improvement over the last couple of months. And still, if 1 or 2 people in your team are saying something, there could be some other reasons which are beyond this metrics. So, which is insightful for the stakeholders also, because, they may or may not be aware of the politics and dynamics which is happening at lower levels. And it also becomes interesting for them that you as a vendor can see through some of their games sometimes. So I guess, yeah, those are some of the challenges which I can think of. And I guess, as I said, each one of them were different and different learnings from them.
Right. It's clear that tackling such a transition requires more than just technical know-how. It requires strong leadership and a lot of collaboration. Mr. Bagool, you built a strong foundation that blends both technology and business operations, two areas that have more often than not traditionally operated in silos. As we look into the future, it's becoming increasingly clear that these two domains are converging in ways we've never seen before. I'm curious, from your perspective, how do you see this convergence shaping the future of global businesses?
Right. Well, so the use case for introducing technology in our daily lives is convenience, while in business, it's efficiency. So technology is forcing humans to upskill and climb up the value tree, lest they'll become irrelevant.
Correct.
The mundane and repetitive tasks which we have are a clear trigger and a call to action for to automate, basically. RPA, blockchains, and the like have been driving efficiencies for business for a long time now. But in the recent past, we see AI and ML making a lot of noise, with fear mongers obviously talking about they're taking away human jobs and things like that. The fact is that every technological advancement gives us an opportunity to upskill and let technology do the boring work, which in turn frees up capacity to do more value-driven work.
Makes sense.
If we let this slip and do not use the freed up time which we have got, then we risk being replaced. So that's there. We live in an age where data is the new oil. So if we have a quality data set, it can be used to perform a particular activity with much more efficiency. Reducing costs and improving efficacy of technology is another factor which is impacting easy adoption of tech solutions. For the businesses, it not only delivers more in less time, but also with a high degree of accuracy, innovation, scalability. And icing on the cake is that there are no human issues which are attached to it, like whether it is illness or leaves or increments and promotions and all of those things, right? So there are multiple platforms which we now have targeted for doing specific things or specific activities. Uh, so yeah, I mean that's how we see that there are a lot of technological solutions which are available to perform specific tasks, but
Mm.
technology is no panacea. So the driver for the new age technology driven solutions is data. If the data set we have is having any sort of bias in it, maybe it's an
Mm.
unconscious bias, it's not necessary that it's a cemented bias, uh,
Correct.
it might give a prejudiced opinion or a prejudiced output since
Mm.
the data is not very clear. AI in its present state is not reliable, so we cannot trust its response blindly. We need to validate
Mm.
before consuming. So, anyways, I mean, when we are talking about AI, ML, Gen AI, we are in the same breath, we are also talking about privacy breaches, uh, issues about data
Data protection.
security, and
Correct.
all of it. So, uh, I think so. If we were just to imagine this technology being used, let's say in the medical sector, so uh, imagine something to do with, let's say, how a radiologist comes to an opinion about what should be done or should not be done. And
Mm.
he or she is using AI or ML as a tooling to help come to that conclusion. Now, one is if uh, the the data set on which this tooling has been built is prejudiced, as we said, or the other thing is if it has a little bit of error margin in it.
Mm.
Now, this error margin can make things very complicated because when you're talking about medicine, it's a question of life and death many times. So
Mm.
there is still some time to go for technology to catch up and become that reliable that you can blindly trust it. As I said earlier, it is still something which needs to be validated. You cannot blindly trust the output which you're getting. So
Mm.
that's the thing. What I feel is that before we jump onto any technological solution, that uh, since the world is talking about this, so let's move here, or the world is talking about that, so let's go here. I think what's more important is that we should first evaluate uh, as to what do we need, what are we doing, and what do we need. So what are the mundane and boring tasks which our
Mm.
teams are involved in, uh, which probably can be automated. So do we have the required sort of data set which can be used, on which
Correct.
you can deploy those toolings, so that all those boring part gets out and the people are freed up to
Mm.
do something more important, something more valuable.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts around it. I think there are also a lot of regulatory conundrums which are still around it. It's a gray zone. People are still figuring it out. So I think we
Right.
should give it time, but we should
Right.
not. If we leave it aside, if we, let's say, if we keep it at one hand distance, saying that okay, you do whatever you want to do, I'm doing whatever I'm doing,
Mm.
then there is a problem, because suddenly once that
Correct.
thing stabilizes and you have no idea as to what it is, then there is a problem. So you need to
Makes
collaborate,
sense.
but not trust it blindly just as yet.
Right. That's a very powerful perspective. It's clear that the merging of these two worlds is going to reshape business as we know it. And like you highlighted, and your experience really brings that to light. So thank you for sharing that your thoughts with us. Mr. Bagul, with such a successful career and impressive achievements, I'm sure you're thinking about the future. Looking ahead, what are some of the goals or aspirations you're focusing on in the next phase of your journey? Are there any particular challenges you're excited to take on, or new areas of growth you're aiming to explore as you continue to evolve in your career?
Right. Thanks, Priya. Another interesting one. It seems you have some interesting data bank which you have, from which you are pulling out all these rabbits out. But anyways, so well, for me, I look forward to managing more complex engagements as I move on in my career, exploring new geographies, bigger teams, more responsibility. So being part of solutions which deliver, as I said, customer delight is what keeps me going. So being able to help team members achieve their aspirations, because if your team is happy, then only you can become happy.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
Although my entire experience has been in tech solutions for FS, I'm open to apply my learnings to other domains as well and enrich me, because I think at some level there are a lot of parallels across domains. It's not necessary that what works for FS will not work for, let's say, telecom, or what works for telecom will not work for something else. So there are some things which are easily adaptable. So I'm open to deploy and learn from that as well. The driver for me is an is delivering an elevated customer experience. So drive in more predictability, sense of ownership, increase the value which is being delivered for multiple customers in parallel. That's what I'm looking forward to. Now, the reason which pushes me to strive for growth is to enhance my ability towards nation building. So, India is a huge country, and there are multiple issues if we were to really look at. And I think although everyone can do at their own individual level in terms of helping out, but if you are at a particular level, if you have a certain set of resources at your command, then you could have a wider impact. So that is another reason which pushes me to keep growing, so that my sphere of influence and resources which I have with me also grow, and then I can put it to good use.
Absolutely. It's inspiring to hear about your future aspirations, and we wish you nothing but continued success. It's clear that you're not just focused on what you've accomplished, but also on the exciting possibilities ahead. The very fact that you're with us on FaceTime with Leaders shows us that you're uh, wanting to continue on your learning. You're continuing on your learning journey. So thank you for sharing that with us. Mr. Bagool, corporate governance has become such a cornerstone for sustainable growth in today's business world. With your vast experience in leadership and strategic decision making, how have you seen corporate governance evolve over the years? And what role do you think it plays in shaping the future of organizations? Um, so,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
So what I would say is that um, corporate governance is basically a toolkit which enables management and the board to deal more effectively with the challenges of running the company. It ensures
Correct.
that businesses have proper decision making processes and controls in place, so that interests of all stakeholders are balanced. It is a necessary guardrail which helps us in shaping a company's long term strategy. I think there are some commonly used frameworks which are available and which are very common nowadays. So it could be COBIT or ITIL, also CMMI, FAIR, to name a few. So they help in building the vision and answering the why for the company. It introduces multiple checkpoints in the life cycle to ensure value delivery, again, making it more predictable, identify risks early, get clarity on priority, thereby also aiding on dependency management. Uh, enables an organization to demonstrate measurable results, comply with regulatory requirements, infuse a sense of confidence in all stakeholders. So whether we look at it at an individual squad level or a team level or at a wider board level, I think corporate governance is something which has to be imbibed in across the layers of the organization. So at a squad level, maybe when team members are having discussion with their individual leads or product owners about the tasks which they have, the progress which they have made, or the issues which they have encountered, or maybe the lead who is reporting the weekly status of the team, or let's say monthly checkpoints which are there to check where we are as a program, or talking about quarterly business review where you have probably a business unit talking about their vision versus what they have achieved, kind of a thing, uh, are all parts of governance structure. I mean, different layers have different forms of it, but
Correct.
and we may or may not at different levels, people have different feelings about it. So especially at the youngest or the smallest level, earliest level, base of the pyramid. Uh, People look at it as an overhead because they feel that besides doing the work which they are supposed to do, besides delivering value, thinking about how to do, what to do, they have this additional task of going back and telling their somebody that, okay, this is what I have been able to do and this is where I'm stuck. So they're saying that instead of me going and telling somebody, would it not be better if I can use that time in thinking about how to solve it? So there are different views to it, but I think uh, in the larger frame, it's important to have these checkpoints and governance guardrails because,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it has to drive predictability. We have multiple stakeholders to look after, and their clarity. I mean, having them have the confidence and clarity in what we are doing is very important. So, yeah,
True.
that's how I look at it.
True. True. And like you mentioned, corporate governance isn't just a set of rules, it's a foundation for building long-term sustainable success. As we near the end of our interview, Mr. Bagool, we'd love to hear about your experience with Directors Institute, which you recently joined, and you've just started. So could you share what motivated you to join and what you're hoping to gain from the experience? How do you envision the knowledge and insights from the institute helping you as you continue to grow in your leadership role?
Right. Thanks, Priya. So, in my opinion, being better prepared is battle half won. So, by becoming a part of this course, I aim to arm myself with knowledge and necessary know-how, which will be put to test in the roles which I will play in my career as I go along. The knowledge and experiences gained here will help me play the role of a rudder and can help uh, the teams and organizations which I'm part of navigate through tumultuous times. Uh, there are some areas or some subjects on which I'm not very proficient. For example, ESG. I may have different views or smaller packets of knowledge which I may have, but not something which runs throughout. So that I'm looking to fill those knowledge gaps which I have,
Gaps.
uh, and look at things, how things would work. So I mean, once I have the gaps filled, then I have the complete knowledge as to how it will work, and then build an understanding in terms of how it can be implemented. What are the issues which come across? I assume there could be some peer level discussions in which there could be experience based learnings which would be shared and things like that. So yeah, looking forward to all of it.
I'm sure the knowledge you're gaining will really complement your leadership style. And it's clear that you have a strong vision for how Directors Institute can support your growth. Uh, Mr. Bagool, what an insightful and enriching conversation this has been. Your journey through digital transformation, leadership, and the world of corporate governance is nothing short of inspiring. For our audience, I'm sure you walked away with some key takeaways that will help you as you continue to grow in your own careers. Mr. Bagool's story is a powerful reminder that leadership is not just about managing resources, but also envisioning a future, driving innovation, and making decisions that have a lasting impact. So, thank you so much, Mr. Bagool, for sharing your time, your experiences, and your expertise with us today. We are excited to follow your continued success. So, thank you for having this very uh, insightful conversation with us today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Priya, and wish you a great day ahead.
Absolutely. And likewise, to
Thank you.
our wonderful audience, thank you for tuning in to this episode of FaceTime with Leaders. We hope today's conversation has inspired you as much as it has inspired us. If you found value in today's discussion, be sure to share it with your network and stay connected with us for more conversations with the world's leading professionals. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, stay curious, and embrace the journey ahead. Take care and thank you.